Tension peaks. Zhang Linghe clashes with Bailu's brother in the hospital hallway. The hospital had fallen into a tense silence after the stormy confrontation between Bailu's mother and Zhang Linghe. Whispers of what happened in that dim corridor had already spread among fans and staff, but what unfolded next pushed the atmosphere to a level no one was prepared for. Because just when it seemed the storm might subside, another figure stepped into the picture, one who carried not just grief, but also raw fury. Bailu's older brother. The arrival that shook the hallway. It was late at night, but the hospital was still buzzing with lights. Zhang Linghe sat slumped outside Bailu's ward, his hands clasped tightly, his knuckles white from the grip. He hadn't eaten for hours, his entire being consumed by the sound of the beeping machines inside that room. Every time a nurse passed, his head shot up, hoping for good news. And then came the sound of hurried footsteps. Everyone turned as a tall, stern man approached. The sharp jawline and piercing eyes made it obvious. This was Bailu's brother, who had flown back in a panic the moment news of his sister's crash reached him. Unlike their mother's trembling grief, his aura radiated controlled rage. His eyes locked on Zhang Linghe, and in that moment, the temperature of the hallway dropped. "You don't belong here." Without hesitation, Bailu's brother strode forward. His voice thundered across the quiet hallway. "You? What are you still doing here?" Nurses froze. Fans waiting outside gasped, their phones trembling in their hands. Zhang Linghe stood slowly, his body tense but his tone steady. "I'm here because I love her. I'm not leaving her side." But the response only fanned the flames. "Love her?" her brother snapped, stepping closer, his eyes sharp like blades. "If you loved her, she wouldn't be lying in that bed fighting for her life. Do you think we don't know? Do you think I haven't heard about the arguments, the tears, the way she looked before all this happened?" The words cut deeper than any wound. Whispers broke out among the small crowd of fans and staff. The clash ignites. Zhang Linghe's chest heaved as he tried to hold back his emotions. "You're wrong," he said, his voice shaking but resolute. "Yes, we had our arguments, but I never stopped protecting her. I was there when the accident happened. I tried." But before he could finish, Bailu's brother shoved him against the wall, fury radiating from every pore. "Protect her? You let this happen. You let my sister suffer because of your chaos." The sound of the impact echoed through the hallway, drawing nurses to rush forward, trying to intervene. Cameras flashed as fans outside tried to capture the explosive moment through the glass doors. And yet, Zhang Linghe didn't push back. His lips trembled, his eyes red with unshed tears. "If I could take her pain, I would. If I could be the one lying in that bed instead of her, I would." The confession hung in the air, silencing everyone. Even Bailu's brother faltered, his fist still gripping Linghe's collar, his eyes searching the sincerity etched in his face. The breaking point. But the fury wasn't gone. Her brother's voice cracked with grief as he released him. "Do you know what it's like to get that phone call? To hear that your sister, the one you promised to protect, is broken because of someone she trusted." Zhang Linghe's knees buckled. For the first time, the weight of guilt crushed him completely. He sank to the floor, his palms pressed against the cold hospital tiles. "I can't ask for your forgiveness," he whispered hoarsely. "I can only beg you to let me stay. She needs to see me when she opens her eyes. If you take that away from me, I have nothing." The hallway went dead silent. Nurses stood frozen, and even Bailu's mother, who had emerged from the ward to witness the chaos, covered her mouth in shock at the raw desperation spilling from Zhang Linghe. A silent witness. Inside the ward, Bailu remained unconscious. Machines beeped steadily, but her fragile hand twitched slightly under the sheets. As if, somewhere deep inside, she could sense the battle raging just outside her door. Her brother, standing over Zhang Linghe, clenched his fists until his knuckles turned white. His anger was real, his pain undeniable, but so was the sincerity in Linghe's voice. Fans watching from outside posted furiously. "This is breaking me apart. Zhang Linghe is literally begging on the floor. Bailu's brother has every right to be angry, but Linghe's love is undeniable. The hallway war is more dramatic than any drama they've acted in." The unexpected intervention. Just when it seemed the situation might spiral further, the hospital doors swung open again. A doctor stepped into the hallway, holding a clipboard. His expression was grave. "Family of Bailu, please come in," he said. "We need to discuss her condition." Everyone froze. The storm paused. Her brother looked from Zhang Linghe to his mother, torn between duty and rage. Finally, with a sharp exhale, he released his grip entirely and turned toward the ward. But before walking in, he looked over his shoulder. "Stay out here. If you dare make her cry again, I'll make sure you regret it." Zhang Linghe remained on his knees, tears spilling freely down his face. He didn't argue. He didn't move. He just whispered softly to himself. "Please, Bailu, wake up. Please prove them wrong." A cliffhanger that shook everyone. The hallway slowly cleared, but the tension lingered like a heavy cloud. Nurses whispered nervously. Fans updated their threads with shaky hands. Bailu's mother entered the ward beside her son, leaving Zhang Linghe alone in the dim corridor. It was a picture that broke millions of hearts. Zhang Linghe, the rising star once admired for his calm composure, now reduced to a broken man begging for the love of his life to open her eyes. The story was no longer just about a car crash. It had become about love against family, guilt against forgiveness, and the unbearable weight of waiting for one heartbeat to change everything. The air in the hospital felt heavy, like the walls themselves were holding their breath. The clash between Zhang Linghe and Bailu's brother had rattled everyone to the core, but the storm was far from over. A standoff of fire and ice. For several moments, silence reigned after Bailu's brother released his grip on Zhang Linghe. The younger man remained on his knees, trembling, his head bowed in shame. Yet, the rage burning in her brother's eyes didn't fade, it only sharpened. "You think words are enough?" her brother finally said, his voice cutting like shards of glass. "Begging won't erase what happened. My sister almost died, Linghe. Do you even understand that?" Zhang Linghe lifted his head, his face streaked with tears. His voice cracked, yet it carried a quiet strength. "Every second since that crash, I've thought about it. About what I could have done differently. About how I failed her. You think I don't understand? I'm the one replaying it every time I close my eyes." The hallway grew colder with each word. Nurses exchanged nervous glances, torn between stepping in or retreating. Fans behind the glass pressed their phones tighter to capture every second, flooding the internet with raw updates. "Linghe is literally falling apart right there. Bailu's brother is ruthless, but is he wrong? This is more heartbreaking than any drama plotline." The brother's fury. Her brother took a slow, deliberate step closer, looming over Linghe like a storm cloud ready to burst. "Then tell me this," he demanded. "If you care so much, why does my sister's face show so much pain every time your name is mentioned? Why were there tears in her eyes weeks before this accident? Love isn't supposed to break someone, Linghe. And yet, look at her now." The accusation struck like a blade. Linghe flinched, but forced himself not to look away. His lips trembled before he spoke, every word dripping with raw desperation. "I know," she cried. "I know I made mistakes. But I swear to you, I never meant to hurt her. Every tear she shed was because I was too scared of losing her. I pushed her away when all I wanted was to hold her closer. Please believe me. I love her more than my own life." His confession echoed through the hallway, pulling an audible gasp from some of the nurses. Even Bailu's mother, standing quietly near the ward door, placed a hand on her chest as her eyes welled with tears. But her brother? His jaw clenched tighter. The shove heard around the hall. In a sudden burst of rage, Bailu's brother shoved Linghe backward, his shoulder slamming against the hospital wall. The thud reverberated down the corridor. "Love," he roared. "Don't you dare say that word when my sister's body is covered in bruises and scars. Don't you dare talk about love when she's hooked up to machines because of you." The impact rattled Linghe, but he didn't fight back. Instead, he whispered through gritted teeth, his voice shaking, "If you want to hit me, hit me. If you want to destroy me, do it. But don't take me away from her. Let me stay. Please." His eyes glistened, pleading. His voice cracked with a rawness that silenced even the angriest whispers around them. A mother's tearful plea. At last, Bailu's mother stepped forward. Her voice, soft yet commanding, broke through the storm. Enough. Both men froze, their chests heaving from the emotional battle. She placed herself between them, her trembling hands stretched out as if to hold back two opposing forces. Linghe, she said, her voice heavy with pain. I don't know if I can forgive you. My heart tells me to protect my daughter from you. But when I look at you now, I see a man who is already broken. And I don't know if pushing you away will heal or destroy her when she wakes up. The words hung in the air like fragile glass. Linghe's eyes widened, his lips parting as if to speak, but no words came. Bailu's brother, however, shook his head furiously. Mom, no. Don't fall for this. He's good with words, but actions matter. And his actions put her here. The emotional collapse. At that, Linghe dropped to the ground once more, his hands slamming against the cold floor. His body shook with sobs that he no longer tried to hide. Nurses gasped softly, some biting their lips to stop themselves from crying. I'll never forgive myself, he cried. But please, let me see her. Let me hold her hand. If she wakes up and doesn't want me anymore, I'll leave. But don't take this moment away from me. The sincerity in his voice shattered something in the room. Bailu's mother covered her face, her shoulders trembling as tears streamed down. Her brother's fists shook at his sides, torn between fury and pity. Fans' explosion online. Outside, the drama was being broadcast in real time by fans on social media. Hashtags began trending within minutes. Hashtag Bailu brother versus Linghe. Hashtag hospital hallway clash. Hashtag Linghe on his knees. Comments flooded in. This is so painful to watch. He's literally begging. I don't care what happened before. No man cries like this if he doesn't love her. Her brother is right though. Love shouldn't hurt this much. The world was torn, half siding with the protective brother, the other half aching for Linghe's shattered soul. A fragile compromise. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Bailu's brother exhaled shakily. He turned away from Linghe, unable to look at him any longer. Fine, he muttered, his voice laced with reluctant acceptance. You can stay. But understand this, if she wakes up and even flinches at the sight of you, you're gone. Forever. Linghe's body collapsed forward in relief, his forehead pressing against the floor as tears spilled freely. Thank you. Thank you, he whispered over and over, like a broken prayer. Bailu's mother placed a trembling hand on her son's arm, guiding him toward the ward. Together, they stepped inside, leaving Zhang Linghe kneeling in the hallway, a shattered man clinging to the only hope he had left. The silent witness inside. What no one saw was Bailu's hand twitch again beneath the sheets. Her eyelids fluttered, ever so slightly, as if her spirit had been listening to every word outside her door. Her brother's fury. Her mother's sorrow. Linghe's desperate cries. A tear slipped down her cheek, unnoticed by the machines. And with that single tear, the story shifted once again, because the moment Bailu opened her eyes, everything would change.